Welcome to Shit Talks, a creative platform created by Chicago Votes designed to uplift organizers, youth activists, and creatives for discussions around important social, political, cultural, and economic issues. This episode is being brought to you in collaboration with Healthy Hood.
Hey, how's everybody doing out there? Thank you. My name is Tonia Hill, and I'm honored to be here with y'all and in community with Chicago Votes. By a show of hands, is there anybody out in the audience who knows what the SNAP curfew ordinance is? Okay, so that's good to know. So for the next half hour or so, we're gonna learn more about the SNAP curfew ordinance, and we're gonna hear from young people who would have been the most impacted by this ordinance had the Chicago City Council passed it a few weeks ago. But first, I wanna share a bit about myself. I'm the Tribe's systemic racism reporter, and my reporting at the Tribe is focused on intersections between criminal justice, policing, and grassroots organizing. The Tribe is a Black woman-owned and led digital media publication where our mission is to reshape the narrative of Chicago through journalism and art. So I want to go back to the SNAP curfew for a moment. This month, the Chicago City Council failed to get the 34 votes it needed to challenge Mayor Johnson's veto on the SNAP curfew ordinance, which would have given the Chicago Police Superintendent, or in this case, who is Larry Snelling currently, the power to call a curfew at any time or any place in the city with just 30 minutes notice, so with the snap of a finger. Now, the entire debate on the curfew, which would have applied to minors specifically, came after two separate shootings in March in River North that happened during large teen hangouts, which are called trends or takeovers. Alder Brian Hopkins, who was the lead sponsor on this, felt like the law was necessary to keep teen gatherings, large teen gatherings, I should say, from happening. And then those that opposed it raised valid concerns about its potential to negatively impact Black and brown teenagers. While reporting on this, I couldn't help but to feel the thinly veiled racism of it all. I know, despite best intentions, that laws and policies like these almost always hit Black people harder. So I just want to reiterate that the SNAP curfew isn't law. It didn't pass in City Council this month, but the conversation we're having today is still critical, and here's why. The teens I talked to while reporting on this for the last few months felt like the SNAP curfew was a way to keep them away from downtown. They think that they have to leave their neighborhoods on the south and west sides to experience the best parts of the city. As adults, we often fail to allow young people to weigh in on the decisions that impact them. As writer and civil rights activist James Baldwin once said, "The children are always ours, every single one of them." So even though the SNAP curfew ordinance isn't happening, it's incumbent on us as adults to listen to young people so we can find solutions around how they can experience all Chicago has to offer. They should be able to do that in ways that are safe, where they can be their full, authentic selves, and where they can be free. So I have three amazing young people joining me here today. Jayla Allen is a rising senior at Gwendolyn Brooks College Prep. She runs track and is on the cheer team. In addition, Jayla is also a member of the school's medical club, and she plans to join the service club this school year. Outside of school, she's part of her church community and is working with One Summer Chicago. Jeremy Borders is also a rising senior. He's a student at Julian High School. He's a point guard for his school's basketball team, and he is always down for a good time. And last but not least, Roderick Haygood is also here with us. He's a Roseland native and a Kenwood Academy High School alum. In addition to being an HBCU student at Tennessee State University, where he's majoring in accounting and business, Rod is also a rapper and has a deep appreciation for making music. Let's give them a warm welcome, y'all. So thanks, you guys, for being here. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do. Anybody can start.
I'll start. Hi, my name is Jayla Allen. Once again, I am a senior. I am from Chicago. I live in the Poor Man Roseland area. Like stated before, I am an student athlete, and I'm a high achieving student both inside and outside of school. Yeah.
I'm Rod, from Roseland, the Hunnets. What I do really is just make music for the most part. School as well. but school seems to be kind of getting in the way of what I want to do at the moment, so I'm going to go back in the spring. But yeah, for right now, I'm just focusing on music.
My name Jeremy Borders, and I play basketball for my school. That's all I got for real.
Okay, so we're not like trying to get in your business, but we are a little bit. But tell us how you socialize with your friends right now. I really, really want Jayla and Jeremy to tell us how they socialize.
With my friends, I like to do things like go to the movies, parks, out to eat, things like that, or have movie nights and things at home or something. That's what I like to do to hang out with my friends, or like beach days. I don't often go out too much because honestly, I'm sort of a homebody. But when I do go out, those are like the things that I do, unless we're talking on the phone or something like that.
Do you ever go downtown or anything like that?
Not really, but I have been downtown with my friends before, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna circle back to you. What about you, Jeremy? What do you like to do for fun?
I like to play basketball, but sometimes I be rapping though. But I don't be like to rap for real, cause like it be lean to other stuff, and I don't be like doing that for real. But when I do, it's just for fun.
Okay. And just like to talk a little bit more about experiences. So have you been downtown with your friends to hang out or?
No, I don't be going downtown because I don't like the trends that be down
trend?
there. Yeah.
Did you say the trends or the?
Yeah, the trends.
Okay, so that's actually a good point right there. But why don't you like them, or what have you seen like while you've been out there?
People just don't know how to work together. When they go outside and they have fun, they just take it to another level, and they don't know how to chill, or they don't know how to stop partying. For real. So I don't be going out there like that for real.
Okay. Did you ever? What about you, Jayla? You're not in there.
I agree. I do think that a lot of teens, they just like to get outside and not be home. So going outside and going to these trends is a way for them to get out of the house. Me personally, I try to steer away from those because I love my life and safety. Safety first. Now, there isn't always the case where there's violence or things like that, but it's common, especially unfortunately in our community with young black and brown teens. So, yeah.
I appreciate y'all's perspective. I want to bring you in, Rod, because I think you have a really interesting perspective because you're 20. So I know you're not trying to really hang around with high schoolers, right? But you're also not really old enough to be at 21 and over, like clubs or whatever the case may be, or events. So like, what are you doing to socialize with your friends, like in this like kind of awkward age range?
So it's like pretty much play the game and go to work, because it's like we got like, not to say like people younger than me don't got like a life to be really doing nothing. They in high school, they getting ready for it, but like I'm kind of like at the point where you got to start figuring stuff out, like applying yourself, doing real stuff. So yeah, if we not on the game or at work, then we probably not really socializing. It ain't really too much room to make more friends at the moment. I'm not at school, in college, so yeah, pretty much that, yeah.
And I know you're like 2 years removed from high school, but did you ever participate in trends or like?
Yeah, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me.
For the same reasons that Jayla and Jeremy?
It's not that I used to be a social person, but it's just like with the route I wanted to take, I didn't really have many people around me, nor did I actually try to be around people chasing the same thing as me, taking accountability on that part. But I feel like I want to do what I want to do by myself for real, so I stay to myself.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about this a little bit just with like kind of what you've been seeing when trends do happen. But why do y'all think that young people like to gather in big groups, and what does that tell us about what might be lacking like in their communities?
Like I said before, just to get outside. Some teens probably to be seen, some may not have the best home life, so getting outside is an escape for them. And that's probably why they want to go outside and go to these trends and teen takeovers and things like that, which occur often. And it has been happening a lot more recently in Chicago too. So that's what my perspective on why teens want to be out more.
Do you guys have anything to add to that?
I say the teens don't got no life for real. If they don't know what they want to do for real, so they just be going out doing anything like they mamas or they daddies, and they don't got no role model for themselves. That's how I feel like it.
Yeah, it's that mixed with like a bit of home training. You know what I'm saying? That's like a big part. I think the way you brought up and how you come up, and then also other influences. You know what I'm saying? Other people come around. You bring in a lot of people with no home training, and you expect them to act a right way outside. That's really not gonna work out. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's a big part of it.
I want to add one other thing. I also think for teens, they want to experience certain things. So going outside and going to these trains, it's like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I did this. But it's like, what are you truly gaining from going to this place? Like, is it really helpful for you? Is it safe for you to be at? But going back, like I said, I genuinely think it's also, too, because they just want to experience things regardless of being told maybe that's not the best thing for you or something like that.
Yeah, before moving on to the next point, I wanted to ask you guys, do you feel like your neighborhoods where you live have spaces for you to gather? And when I say youth, I mean like that pre-teenage to teenage age. Like, do you feel like there are places for you to be where you can just be yourselves that adults might not be, or you know what I mean? But you feel safe at the same time?
You know, I'm from Roseland, so it's like there's many parks around, but you know, violence is one of the main things, and it's not even always the kid fault. You know, sometimes mama tell you can't go outside because of certain things going on. I remember when it happened to me, but I say for the most part, that's what it is. Like, so much violence take over, and other things affect that. So it affects the way your people perceive you going outside now. They want you to be safe, even though you just want to have fun. You know what I'm saying? I say that's a part.
I think in some communities there is a lack of safe places for teens to gather, so obviously they're going to go to these other places that they might think is safe to hang out and things like that, or even if they don't think it, that's just where they go. But I definitely do think there is a lack of safe spaces for teens to go and gather around and hang out and things like that. And like he said, the parks and things like that, yes, but that is more so like an outside thing. Anybody can show up there. Anybody can show up anywhere, but parks is so open and anybody can pull up and do it, whatever they want to do. So
I wanted to also just like quickly say, as a older millennial, you guys just don't have the same amount of third spaces. And when I say a third space, I mean somewhere outside of school, outside of home, to really be. And that is something that I feel like I really grew up having. Like, you guys have rules to go to the mall. You have to have a parent or a chaperone. I was able to just go to the mall with my friends and not have a chaperone. So I really do think you guys have a lot of limitations on like where you're able to really be free. So I wanted to know, like, what do you think the news media, so people, like what you see on the TV stations or whatever, or even just like our mayor or other aldermen are getting wrong about like teen takeovers? What do you think is missing when they're having these conversations?
I think that because, you know, it's common for people to know like teens hanging out and things like that, so it's depicted in a negative light. So whenever you hear anything about teens hanging around, it's always a negative connotation to it. But really, so there may be some cases where teens are just going out to genuinely have good and safe fun with their friends. But because you have those certain teens and things like that, that's often shared to social media, that's doing these bad things, when there are certain groups of people that aren't doing bad things or something like that, it's like you can't hang out or do anything like that because you have these teens that just might want to be rowdy, and it's affecting others. And then when it's being shared, like I said before, it's depicted in a negative light. So they don't want teens to have fun anymore because of that.
Yeah. What do you all think, Roderick, about that? Do you feel like, to Jayla's point, do you feel like there's some stereotypes about like black teenagers specifically and how you move?
I believe it is, but I will also be lying if I say we don't sometimes add to that stigma. You know what I'm saying? That's the hard part about it, even though it's not all of us, but you know, it's like an old saying in school, one bad apple ruined a bunch. So yeah, pretty much. But I agree with her point for the most part. Yeah.
You know, this conversation is about the SNAP curfew. So just based on what you've been learning about it, what do you think it says about how the city views teen presence in public spaces? And I want to start with you, Jeremy, just about this idea that the police superintendent could have had the power to just snap his fingers and say, you know what, I need to call a curfew. at any time or any place, in the city, because I'm concerned about a large teen gathering happening. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think that's pretty good because, like, sometimes I feel like I don't really be liking sometimes when the police do that, but, like, sometimes they really need to do that because, like, stuff be getting out of hand. Like, I like the party, but, like, people be getting out of hand, and I don't be liking that. So either I'll move around or they'll come. So.
Mm-hmm. You want to add anything to that?
Yeah, it's like I feel like teens, they have a place, but they gotta know their place. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the curfew is one of the things that enforces that. You know what I'm saying? Actually, I feel like maybe they should have probably been had a curfew so that there's not issues like this going on. You know what I'm saying? Times change, so it's more of a different time, really.
Yeah, I do want to add that there is already a curfew in place in the city of Chicago. So that for minors, I believe it's to 10 p.m. So under a certain age. So there is already a curfew, but this would have been an added layer of like authority for the police department to have. So just to put that in context. Anything else you want to add to that, Jayla?
I just think it's an unfortunate situation where it's like, because teens are, like Jeremy said, taking things to a next level, it's just so unfortunate that you have to implement these other like laws on top of laws that are already there for teens because they may not know how to act in certain spaces or yeah.
And I want to know, like, from your experiences, I don't know if you've had interactions with the police, if any of the three of you have, but I wonder, just thinking about, if you see you're out with friends and maybe, Jayla and Jeremy are just hanging out, and then Jayla calls a friend, and then 5 more people come up, and you call some friends, and 5 more people come up. So now it's a group of 20 people, and you're just, like, you're just walking around, you're not doing anything. So I'm just wondering, like, if the police were to respond to you in a way that you perceive as negative, what would you rather have, in place in terms of resources for teens? Instead of like a police response, what would you want to see?
I got something, I think.
Go ahead.
So we got many community centers, but for like people, like, younger people in high school and stuff, you got to have a membership. Lower some of them prices, you know what I'm saying? For the starters at least, because, they got to make their profit, but not everybody can afford to be in all these centers, you know what I'm saying? So maybe lower some prices, that's all. Yeah.
I like that idea.
Access plays a huge role, I feel like, to piggyback on that point. Access to resources, access to goods. In many black and brown communities, there's levels to it. You have some that genuinely can't afford to do certain things, so going out and doing this and that's like their way of living life. Then you have some that's on this level, it's like, okay, I can make it by, and then you have some like, yeah, we good over here, and we have access to these things. So those are probably the ones that's less likely to be rowdy and outside or something like that.
So the other thing I was curious about too, I really like your point about mentioning community centers. So you have like the YMCA, Park District. I know I talked to some teenagers who feel like Park District programming is more for younger elementary school kids, so they don't really feel included in that. But outside of those things, Jayla, I know you are working with One Summer Chicago. So would you like to see more job opportunities for young people in order to have something like positive to do?
Yes, I definitely think having an increase of opportunities and jobs for young people would definitely be beneficial to this issue, and it could, be resolved in a better manner because you don't have teens going outside every day. Like, they have something to keep them busy. And also, too, a lot of teens have this idea of, like, not wanting to be judged or something because of what they're doing, and they want to follow the crowd versus being their own self. So that's also another important thing, like just being who you are and staying true to yourself as a teenager, because like it can definitely be hard when you're trying to fit in with certain crowds of people and things like that. So always staying true to yourself is like super important.
I agree with that. With the summer job that you're a part of, can you tell us a little bit more about what it is that you do?
So One Summer Chicago, and maybe Jeremy can also shed more light on this as well, but One Summer Chicago is, what I'm doing is through Graduates Over Guns, and Graduates Over Guns is a program that works to empower youth, give youth opportunities and life lessons about things. Like today, we had someone come in and give us financial literacy, basically like money is time. How can you manage your time wisely? And that was like very beneficial. And then I recently took lead on a menthol and vaping project where it's shedding light on how it affects your body and why you shouldn't do it. So, stay tuned to that. It's like a little commercial coming out soon.
Okay, well, definitely let me know about that. Do you have anything to add about your experience with One Summer Chicago?
Yes, I have a couple experience. The place that I'm at right now, they teaching us how to help the youth and stuff. Really, it's really mainly about the youth. Really, at that program. So basically.
Okay, what's the name of the one you're working with?
Same one. She working at.
You working in the same one? Okay.
Graduates Over Guns.
I also think it's very important for adults as well to be involved in the life of youth, like seeing what's going on in these Black and brown communities, and like, what can I do as an adult to help them and make them, work with them to be better people. And I think that's why this program is so beneficial, because it's like you have adults that genuinely care about the life of teens, and how can I help them be better? How can I teach them valuable life lessons? How can I make sure that they have a job, make sure that they want to be educated? So.
Yeah, I think mentorship is really what I'm getting from you. Would you guys like to speak about that, like how important you feel like mentors are right now? Roderick, you could go. Yeah.
Well, I got four. I got three little brothers, so mentorship is a big thing, big part of my life. So even if I do see, maybe somebody even close to their age or younger than me, I always try to give advice. You know what I'm saying? Not that I'm much older than anybody, but I don't, live the years that y'all probably haven't lived, and you probably want some insight on how it's probably gonna be or anything. But yeah, that's really the most part.
Go ahead.
Mentorship to me is very important and very valuable in my life. Like my dad, yes, that's my parent, but he is a great mentor when it comes to speaking positively to me and pouring into me so that I'm able to pour back into others. And then like my aunt, she is great, a great woman. She is always making sure she helps me find different opportunities. Like she's just that one person that I know I can call on whenever I need something or need help with something. But even having mentors in different fields and different things that you're doing is super important. And you have an adult that has gone through things, and you can talk to them whenever you would like about anything, and they can always give you good advice and also tell you when you're wrong. That's important too. You got to have somebody that can tell you when you're wrong and when you're right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's also beneficial as an adult to have younger people also telling me when I'm wrong, so I'm not afraid to be told when I'm wrong. So what I'm hearing from you guys about different responses that you like to see, you want to see community centers, you want to see access improve where people are able to get memberships to different clubs and things like that, and also employment. Is there anything else I'm missing about like different resources or opportunities you think young people in your neighborhoods where you're from need in order to just be safe for their communities?
I think letting the youth know that they are heard, making sure they're involved in things that impact them so that they can feel safer in their communities. And
yeah. So you guys, Jayla and Jeremy, you're not old enough to vote just yet, but Roderick is, and I wanted to get his opinion on how he thinks people of your age group can figure out ways to be included in creating laws and policies about young people. Like, what do you think about that?
I don't really get too much into politics, but I know one thing for sure, and like y'all matter, like for real, like y'all matter. You know what I'm saying? For people that, me, like I don't like to vote yet because I don't really know too much, but I still gotta learn. But like for y'all still in school and everything, like, and take as much as you can, and like know that y'all impact is gonna be the one that's the one that's going to be needed, because, we don't know what's going on with the world right now. It's a lot. But y'all got it, because people like me don't really got it. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I add on to that?
Sure.
I think as a young person, being educated is very important. And some youth choose to be ignorant about the things that's going on around them, and they refuse to like listen to the news and things like that. Like, I know I don't often listen to it, but I'm not going to stay ignorant to something that's going on in my community or something like that. So I definitely think being educated is very important when it comes to the youth on certain things in like politics.
Yeah, and
Can I add-
go ahead.
Yeah, I want to add to that because, like, I'm probably one of the ones that's ignorant. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, because I want to live my life a certain way. I don't want to see all of that. I don't want to, because it feel like you feel obligated when you do see it. Now you feel like you do got to do something. So sometimes I do feel like I don't want to do nothing. But that's why I say, like, for y'all, it's like I would want y'all to be the ones knowing, like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all actually got a voice and I'll actually heard doing stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to add, well, Chicago Votes is a great resource for voting. But I also want to point out, too, that the only way to be involved in politics is not voting. With this whole conversation about the SNAP curfew ordinance, just covering this as a reporter, it was youth that I saw coming to city council, talking to city council members during meetings, giving public comment where they were expressing how they felt about it. They challenged the mayor. They held rallies. They were out there, phone baking, so calling people in their community saying like, hey, this is why I think this is problematic and here's why. So I'm saying that to encourage y'all, to let you know that voting is not the only way that you can be active in your community around an issue. I think Jayla's point about being educated is really, really solid, but just letting you know there's other ways that you can be involved in politics outside of just going to the voting booth. You can go to community meetings. You can get tapped into different organizations. So there's just lots of different ways. I'm coming up on the end here, but is there anything else that you feel like we haven't talked about that you want to add to the conversation?
No, but I would like to talk about an experience I had with being involved. So when this was my sophomore year, I took AP Government. And we took a trip to, I believe it was the city hall, and we talked to the clerk. And that was an opportunity for us to like think about our community and what's going on around us. And so we had the opportunity to draft an ordinance, and we were placed in like different groups. And I feel like that was a really good opportunity for my class at my school, because we got the chance to learn about certain things that's going on around us and thinking to ourselves, getting our brains working, like, what can we do to change this? And yeah, that was a really good experience.
I love that. That's literally what I'm talking about. So that's advocacy in motion right there.
I wanted to ask to the panel, beyond the SNAP curfew, what's something else that can be done in Chicago to make young Black and brown youth feel more accepted?
I just think the narrative has to change on what the average teenager looks like or what they seem like going outside. And also, too, it starts with us as well. Like, we have to notice, like, what is going on and what are people saying to us and what are people saying about us, and how can we begin to shift that narrative within ourselves instead of allowing them to say what we are, who we are, what we do, and things like that. And I just think that's very important as a young person to show people, like, who you are and get involved so that you can change that narrative.
For them to feel accepted, I feel like they also want to be respected. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's their acceptance in a way. Speaking from how I was as a 16, 17-year-old. Yeah, that's really all I got right now. I'm sorry.
They just need to bring out more programs. Because, like, kids be really doing stuff really during the day. Then they'll go chill at night, but then they'll go back at night and just do 10 times worse. So I feel like if they got something that they could do during the day, by the time they get home, they'll be knocked out. So like, they really need more programs for real.
Yes, that's to piggyback on opportunities and access to opportunities. I feel like when it comes to youth and this Black and brown community.
I feel like they should also broaden, like, more things to do instead of the base simple things, you know, like sports, arts, girls and boys clubs. Bring some more stuff, because it's like it's a lot more avenues and options for people, like, nowadays. Yeah, that's
And it's honestly sometimes a bit unfortunate that the black and brown community and youth are limited to certain things that they can do. And I think it's important for them to know that you aren't limited to anything. You can do whatever you put your mind to.
So I grew up on the west side of Chicago. I went to Christ the King. And so I never wanted to go to an art school. I didn't think that was even a possibility for me. And so I definitely hear y'all and what y'all saying, and I understand where you guys are coming from. I want to know what, like, after school programs you guys want to see. Because I know my school, I would talk to other kids at my college and be like, yeah, we had swim, we had arts, we had all this. I'm like, we ain't had none of that. So what programs would you guys want to see, you know, after school program that it doesn't have to be necessarily a sport, but just some activity that you can do as a let out?
I got one. Speaking because of what I do, schools should really start taking rappers a little more serious. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of, you know, we get a stigma because it's like everybody do it in our city is very known for it, which is why I also feel like they should take it more serious. Like, we got a lot of talent in our city, but you got to make it out your high school first, kind of, because, like, that's the first people to judge you, in a sense. So, yeah, I feel like they should probably take them a little more serious, being biased, in my opinion.
At my school, there's a many clubs and extracurriculars, and I think it's important, I want to say, listening to what the youth want, and then being able to implement those things in a safe way for them to express themselves and have fun. Yeah.
I don't got nothing.
I actually have a question. So, I myself have two sisters. One of them who is a teenager, and she's starting her first year in high school. And I don't know about your parents, but my mom hates it when she sees my sister on her phone, or like has nothing to do. If she leaves home and you're on your phone, and then she comes back home and you're on your phone all day is basically how she like views what my sister does with her time. And honestly, speaking as her older sister and I'm home with her, she does do that. But I later found out that she wanted to do things, but she did not know what to do. And I think it might be a product because she doesn't speak English very well. But basically, I think kids are sometimes just like attached to their parents. And my parents, who don't speak English, know nothing about the programs around Chicago. Me and my other sister spoke English very well, so in class we could catch on very quickly to whatever programs are out there. How would you guys, are there any easier paths for you guys to pick up on any other programs or opportunities out there? Because you guys are like, your parents are an extension of yourself, and if you didn't have them around you, maybe you wouldn't be able to have as many resources. But if you really relied on yourselves, is there another way other than maybe school, maybe other programs, maybe your friends, but yeah.
Outreach is very important, and also with a lot of teens, like some, they want to be confined to their homes and don't want to be more open and talk to other people. But I do think, like I said before, mentorship is important. And then within schools, like being able to talk to people is important, and collaborate and things like that, so that you're able to get across what you would like.
You kind of just got to jump in the deep. As a person that didn't do it, like, I could tell if I did, things probably would have went a lot different. But yeah, it's like sometimes it's nothing that your parents could do or anybody else could really influence you to do. It's just like on you to like really like do what you want to do, if that's really the case. You know what I'm saying?
You just gotta be yourself. Some people be scared, for real. I'll be scared sometimes too. I'm scared right now. That's why I ain't really saying
For
nothing.
real.
And that's to piggyback on, like, you just got to jump into things, expose yourself to certain things, because you never know where one thing might take you. Like, I never know what doing this right now would take me in the next day, the next hour, the next second, you know? So just being able to not be scared, don't be scared to take chances and risk, and, like, take advantage of opportunities presented to you.
Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you to Chicago Votes and Healthy Hood for putting this together. This was a really beautiful conversation, and I really hope that adults are listening to y'all and finding, you mentioned some really great solutions, and I hope that it inspires you guys to keep advocating for the things that you want to see.
Thank you for this opportunity. Got my brain working and thinking about
Thank
what's
y'all.
going on.
Thank you.